Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Rantoinette. I'm back. I was gone over the holiday weekend, got to spend some time with my family. It was very nice. I got to drive the hell out of my car. It's been broken down for like 9 months, and now that I got a brand new to me engine in my 20-year-old Honda, I got to rip it around a little bit. That was nice. Did some chores for my dad. My dad is getting up there, and I want to make sure that he doesn't hurt himself doing stuff. So I decided to help him out, and got to spend time with all of my favorite family members, and got to hit the beach. It was really nice. I got a little bit of sun, and I finished off the visit with a game night with my favorite family members. We laughed, we joked, we had a great time. It was very nice. Now, of course, since I've been gone, the news has not stopped. I do have object permanence, and I do realize that news continues to happen while I was away. There's no time to go back and get all of the stories, so I just picked out a handful of them that I missed over the last week. And of course, we'll talk about the current stuff that's going on right now. As opposed to just going through the whole list of things, I could just say that federal judges are working their ass off trying to stop all of the fascism that Donald Trump is doing. Saying that the Trump tariffs are illegal. They stopped deportation of about 600 young Guatemalan children who were snatched out of foster homes. Trump, is he dying? I hate to break it to you folks, but evil never dies. It just never dies. But, when everybody all of Blue-anon was out there going, oh, is Trump dying? Is Trump dying? Well, I would only offer my thoughts and blood clot prayers for the president. That's just a sad attempt at humor. But, we all have gallows humor these days. Let's see. Is there anything else really interesting to talk about? Trump declared the Defense Department the War Department. I guess he didn't die of a stroke after all. He's got that auto pen. No, the auto Sharpie. It's going to be great. And Labor Day sees millions of people across America protesting, which is really good. Donald Trump is he is setting up plans to invade Chicago. I had a conversation with a family member over the last week about this very topic. And they looked at me like I was crazy. Oh, he's not going to do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He already invaded LA. He already invaded DC. What are you talking about? Oh, well, he's got a reason to invade LA. They were just protecting a federal building. Well, what about DC? Oh, well, he's got a plausible reason for that. Okay, well, when he invades Chicago, is that going to change your mind? Oh, well, he's not going to invade Chicago. He's just a blowhard. And then I say, well, when he does, are we going to have a different conversation? When Zoran Mamdani wins mayor here in New York and he invades New York, are we going to have a different conversation? Or we're just going to have to wait a couple of weeks for Fox News to give you a good excuse as a reason why he's doing the invading. Anyway, we'll get into that story and much, much more. Before I get started, if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, I'd really appreciate that. I work really hard for this stuff, and it keeps me in the algorithm. So thank you very much for that. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, let's start off with Donald Trump. We always got to start off with Donald Trump. It's always the same stories, isn't it? Donald Trump, is he dying? Or, did he have strokes? Trump has I'm not going to be able to pronounce that, ischemic stroke this week. Conspiracy theories allege White House cover-up after death rumors. U.S. President Donald Trump set the internet abuzz last week after becoming suspiciously quiet and vanishing from the public eye. Yeah, he was gone pretty much the entire time I was out of town. which is really unusual for the president because the president tends to love to be standing in front of cameras and, batting about back and forth with reporters. Well, at least the reporters that he likes, and the ones he doesn't like, he calls them fake news. Many were convinced the U.S. president, arguably one of the most powerful people in the world. Arguably, yeah. I would say, unfortunately, Donald Trump probably is the most powerful person in the world. At least he commands the most powerful military in the world. Had died late August. Photos of Trump playing golf with grandchildren over the weekend did not help dispel the rumors. Oh, yeah, it was another thing. MAGA influencers and news people were putting out photos of Donald Trump, playing golf, even though he wasn't at the golf course, but they were like posting photos of the president playing golf from like a couple of weeks before. And, all of the internet sleuths out there were going, hey, that's not him. Or that is him, but that's him from like 3 weeks ago or from a month ago. So, Donald Trump hiding, everybody's trying to make excuses for him. Trump since pushed back against the allegations and dismissed the claims as unfounded speculation. Never felt better in my life. Which is really ironic for a nearly 80-year-old man to say. I can personally guarantee you that if you are an 80-year-old man saying you never felt better in your life, you probably forgot how good it feels to be young. The rumor mill, however, begged to differ with a variety range of conspiracy theories cropping up despite his insistence. Some remain convinced that the White House had trotted out a body double. Come on, Blue-anon. Hey, look. If y'all want to say that Stephen Miller was doing the tweeting for him or somebody, a White House staffer was doing the tweeting for him, sure, I believe that. And with all of these, the swollen cankles, bacon bread in his shoe with his muffin top ankles and the big bruises on both of his hands, there is definitely something wrong with him. He definitely has a health problem. And if he had a stroke or a mini stroke, it is very possible. We've seen pictures of him with his mouth wide open and he's looking pretty bad. So it is a possibility that he has had a health issue over the week. And we have seen those bruises on his hand, which look like IV, where they put the IV into the front of your hand. So he obviously had some kind of medical treatment. And I don't care what Carolyn Levitt said about, he's shaking so many hands. Well, why is it on his left hand? Because you don't shake hands with your left hand. Whatever. Media access blocked several social media. Several social users remain convinced that Donald Trump has suffered a stroke last weekend, contending that there are simply no alternative. Multiple posts on Twitter insist that media restrictions were simply a way to ensure nobody saw Trump. And that's another thing. Normally, he's out in the White House lawn doing interviews with the reporters. He was not doing those interviews, and all of the photos that were taken of him were from like 100 yards back. They wouldn't let anybody get any closer. Let me see here. If he's just gone and nobody had seen him for 7+ days, he could be in Antarctica talking to aliens, okay? I don't think he's actually dead. But it would be one of those moments that we had in Biden's administration where he vanished for 5 days and then came back a clone of the original version. Okay. Trump had a stroke. I believe it is a growing evidence that the White House is covering up the fact that Donald Trump has been dealing with TIA strokes, which are mini strokes is what they call them. And he likely had a more significant asymptomatic stroke this week. That was Adam Cochran who said that. Let me see here. Well, look, let's just move on here, shall we? Trump, who questioned his opponent's health, that was when he was talking about Joe Biden, rebuffs rumors about his own. There's the big old bruise on his hand, looking pretty wretched, I have to say. Let me see here. Washington. The online world has its doubts, but yes, Donald Trump is alive. This was from today. Trump's televised appearance at the Oval Office on Tuesday. Now, this was, his announcement of moving the space headquarters from Colorado to Alabama. That was the whole thing behind this, other than the fact that it's just a proof of life that I'm still alive. And Trump's televised appearance in the Oval Office today Doubled as a proof of life test for the conspiracy-minded after the week's worth of speculation that he's gravely ill or worse. The topic, hashtag Trump is dead, has been trending on Twitter. Trump 79 has gotten reports that because he hadn't been spotted much in recent days, something was amiss. He hadn't been seen in public. Now, he's taking questions about this in the Oval. Let's take a look, shall we? Oh, shit, I forgot something. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm right back. I forgot my earbuds. Been out of practice, y'all. Anyway, so here he is fielding questions at the, at the White House. If I can get it to unmute, here we go.
About a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
He's too dumb to get that guy was throwing a joke at him. God, man. Talk about Sleepy Joe. Jesus Christ. Look at this sleepy motherfucker.
Didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about...
At least somebody figured out a way to give him a skin tone that is not burnt orange, or the color of a fucking, forest fire.
The word demise.
Really? I didn't see that. I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him.
Yes, they did, honey. We all did. Every time Joe Biden was either in front of a camera or not in front of a camera, we all knew that Joe Biden is old fuck.
Them, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors.
It was, nobody saw it. You were on the phone with somebody. You sound like you just woke up from a coma. But yeah, man, we heard you.
I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths.
The whole truth thing, goddamn, man. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not. Moving on.
No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own, pretty nearby on the Potomac River.
I didn't play golf.
No, I've been very active actually over the
Been dragging my right foot around. Don't have the good swing that I used to.
weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff.
I didn't hear I was
fake
dead.
News. It's just so. It's so fake. That's
Look at my neck, pussy. It's all fake news.
The media has so little credibility. I knew they were saying, like,
it's very
is he
ironic.
okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong?
They have no credibility, just like me.
Left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, It's Labor Day weekend, so I would say a lot of people know I was very active this
I don't
Labor
like
Day.
to labor on the
I
weekend.
had heard that, but I didn't hear it to that extent.
Okay, man, sure. So, yes, unfortunately, the president is alive. But that didn't stop JD Vance from last week talking about he was prepared to take over as the president if a terrible tragedy occurs. So and by the way, Melania, who, by the way, hates Donald Trump, she hates her husband. She's always here in New York City. She's not in D.C. She was at the Bethesda hospital that all the presidents go to. Is it Walter Reed? I can't remember, but she was there at the hospital. Donald Trump having a health issue is not that far-fetched. He's nearly 80. He eats McDonald's every day, drinks Diet Cokes like they're going out of style. The dude is old as fuck. And, screaming and yelling about Joe Biden being old, that's the pot calling the kettle a fucking pot. Do we want to watch any of this? Prepare to take over as president. This is just a don't. But, he did say that, he was prepared to take over as president. So it ain't just speculation from the Dems. It was also speculation from those folks too. Let's see here. We got Donald Trump's photos show amid health speculation. Let's see. What does he have to say? Goddamn mute.
The presidential fitness test and the presidential fitness award. And
This was that whole presidential medal, yada, yada, yada. The images of Donald Trump since his last major public engagement. That, by the way, the last time we heard from him was when Taylor Swift got engaged, and Donald Trump posted about that. And that was the last time anybody heard or saw of him. So that's how long it's been since he's been out of the public eye. When contacted for comment, White House spokesperson Carolyn Leavitt told Newsweek in a statement Tuesday morning that Trump will be making an exciting announcement related to the Department of Defense. Yeah, I just told you, Department of Defense. He's going to change it to the Department of War because he is the peace candidate. He is the dove president. Sure, man. We saw this picture here. Everybody was speculating. Now, look. He's got that whole old man mouth agape thing. Look, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but it's also a still shot. You know, he could have been closing his mouth at any second. I think people are just looking at it because he's got the hat on. He didn't do anything with his hairs. He's got just 27 hairs on his head. He didn't have time to twist them around his skull, and he's not wearing any makeup, so he does not look great. So people were looking at that going, "Ooh, God, man, Donald Trump not looking great, dog." Let me see here. Photographs of Donald Trump departing the White House on Labor Day have been circulated by Getty Images. That's that same one. And you could see how far back the press corps is. They weren't allowed to talk to him. Trump is dead. Rumors, obviously not. Let me see here. Hold on. Yeah, that's the one we were just looking at. This one right here. He is included in his little talk today about moving the Space Force, NASA, Starlink, whatever the fuck. He's moving that from Colorado to Alabama, and he's going to call it Rocket City because it's called Rocket City. But hereby known forth, New York City will be now known as the Big Apple. I'm the one that created that. That's right, folks. It's going to be called Rocket City, folks. But anyway, here he is talking about we're going in. Trump vows to send troops to Chicago. Oh, man. I thought that it was just the D.C. thing. Yeah, I really thought that.
President, have you decided you're definitely going to send National Guard troops to Chicago?
I didn't say when, but the answer is, look, Chicago's very interesting because I watched Pritzker get up and say we don't need help, we're safe. But
yes, they don't, honey. They don't need military troops on the ground, posse comitatus and all that shit. Unconstitutional and all that jazz. We all know it. We all feel it in our bones. You do not need to be doing this. And besides, I think I mentioned this the last time when we were talking about the invasion to D.C. The federal government defunded DC because DC doesn't have any control over their own goddamn budget. It is, run by the fucking federal government, which makes absolutely no sense. Anyway, I don't want to digress on that, but they defunded DC's budget by over $1 billion. If you were really concerned about DC having enough police on hand, you wouldn't have defunded them. But whatever, man. Now he's talking about, we need to go into Chicago. No, you fucking don't.
2 weeks ago, they had 6 people murdered, and they had 24 people hit by bullets.
Yeah, man, sure. And every time a right-wing shooter goes off and loses their fucking mind and shoots a whole shitload of people, are you sending the military there? I kind of doubt it.
Last week, as you know, it was 7 people, 24 people hit, and 7 people died. And then over the last 2 days, that was the crown jewel. They had, I guess, 9 or 10 killed.
By the way, do you know how many people are killed in America last year? 64,000 people. 64,000. So he's throwing numbers out there from blue cities. He's not talking about red cities or red states blue cities in red states, I should say.
And 50 hit with bullets. And you have this governor get up, who's a terrible governor. Probably he and Gavin Newsom would be probably the two worst.
He sounds like I really respect him because I keep calling him Gavin Newsom. Honestly, I think that that's his name now. I've said it so many times. Gavin Newsom. You mean it's really Newsom?
And most naive. They're naive. Either they're naive or they're very untruthful. And
Very
they'll say,
untruthful.
we don't want any protection. We don't need.
No, honey, it's not that they need protection. If they asked you, if a governor asked you to send in troops, usually when it comes to a natural disaster, they will request the president send in either the National Guard or FEMA or both. But by the way, when that happens, you're like, I'm not going to do that. Y'all can figure it out on your own states' rights. And it's always states' rights until it's about something that he wants to do. So, when a governor says, I do not need you to send the National Guard, I sure as shit don't need you to be sending the fucking military to my state or my cities, they mean it. They have enough police force.
So in the last 3 weeks, he's lost almost 20 people killed. There's no place in the world, including
No place
you can
like
go to
home.
Afghanistan, you can go to places that you would think of.
What
They
are you
don't even come
talking
close
about?
to this. Chicago
Afghanistan? Go fuck yourself, man. Afghanistan.
is a hellhole right now. Baltimore is a hellhole right
Washington, D.C. is a hellhole, and you are the devil.
now.
Anyway, what a bunch of horse pucky, as my mother would say. By the way, this is the biggest murder rate city. Look, I don't care. Look, I'm not going to say I don't care about murder. Of course I do. Of course I do. But when you're talking about invading a place, you're just making up an excuse because you want to do an authoritarian thing, Mr. Trump. That's exactly what you're trying to do. But you're using murder and crime as a reason for it. Meanwhile, the most murder-ridden states and cities in this country are all in red states, or primarily the bulk of them are in red states. Number one, 64 murders per 100,000 residents, St. Louis, Missouri. Baltimore, Maryland. Birmingham, Alabama. Detroit, Michigan. Dayton, Ohio, another red state. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, another red state. New Orleans, Louisiana, another red state. Kansas City, Missouri, another red state. Memphis, Tennessee, red state. Cleveland, Ohio, red state. Richmond, Virginia, that's kind of a purple state, but that's the state where my family lives, in Virginia. Florida, red state. There it is. D.C. is number 13 on the list. Anyway, unfortunately, the man is still alive. I was going to say, and well, but he is not well. He has never been well. He certainly doesn't look very well right now, but the man has never been well upstairs whatsoever. I don't care how many times he says, I'm a very stable genius. It's called a brain, and up there, and many other things. He has never been well, but he is looking very unwell lately. Anyway, goddamn, man. I'm not going to say anymore because I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to wish ill on anybody. And by the way, if he did pass away, then what are we going to get? We're going to get JD's fucking pants, man. We're going to get Couchfucker himself, the Peter Thiel acolyte who bought his way into the Senate. He served for 1.5 years and then became the vice president. So he would be Peter Thiel's little blood boy. What do you think that's going to do? Oh, look, honestly, I don't know. I have no fucking idea. Peter Thiel, how much of a hold or how much he can talk into Donald Trump's ear about Palantir and setting up the whole permanent surveillance state a la 1984 thing. We're already under surveillance all the time by apps and corporations and data brokers. But if Peter Thiel gets his way, he wants to go full nuclear with that thing. And JD Vance would absolutely allow him to do that. I wouldn't. I mean, he's not American, but, you know, since when does following the law ever mattered anymore in the, you know, in the Republican era, year of our Lord 2025? So Peter Thiel would definitely be a lot closer to the presidency if Donald Trump passes away and it becomes JD Vance as president. And all JD Vance would have to do would be to, you know, end this tariff bullshit, and the economy would improve slightly, and then he'd have 3 years in office to win over all the MAGA folks, and we'd be in the same goddamn place. I know he ain't got no riz, you know, he's got, you know, no talent like Donald Trump does to have, you know, the iron grip on the base like, you know, Don does. But JD Vance is very well possible that he could be quite a contender, even though he is a couch fucker. Anyway, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that's kind of my job. Donald Trump still alive, unfortunately. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.